Lieutenant Nathan Drake's footsteps echoed through the dimly lit maintenance corridor of Orbital Station Artemis. The midnight shift was usually uneventful, but tonight felt different. The air recyclers hummed an off-key tune, and the emergency lights cast unusual shadows across the steel walls. As head of station security, Nathan had developed an instinct for trouble. 15 years in the Terran Defense Force had taught him to trust his gut, and right now, it was screaming that something was wrong. He adjusted the energy settings on his pulse rifle, the weapon's software providing little comfort in the empty corridor. The first sign came as a faint blue glow reflecting off the metal panels ahead. Nathan slowed his pace, engaging his armor's stealth systems. The light pulsed with an otherworldly rhythm, unlike anything in standard station equipment. As he rounded the corner, he stopped dead in his tracks. A figure lay crumpled against the wall, surrounded by a pool of silvery liquid that seemed to capture and reflect the strange blue light. But it wasn't the unusual blood that caught Nathan's attention, it was the person it belonged to. The alien's features were distinctly feminine, with iridescent scales that shimmered like starlight across her temples and cheekbones. Her combat suit, though damaged, bore insignias he'd never seen before. "Don't move," Nathan commanded, raising his weapon. The alien's eyes snapped open, they were completely silver, with no visible pupils, yet somehow expressed both pain and determination. "The Void Hunters," she gasped, her universal translator giving her words an ethereal quality. "They're coming. The artifact must not fall into their hands." Her hand clutched a small crystalline device that pulsed with the same blue light he'd noticed earlier. Nathan's tactical training screamed at him to call for backup, to treat this as a potential security breach. But something in her voice, in the desperate sincerity of her words, made him hesitate. "I am Lyra Voss, First Guardian of the Stellar Concordat," she continued, grimacing through obvious pain. "And you, human, may be the only one who can help prevent a catastrophe that will consume both our peoples." Before Nathan could respond, emergency klaxons began blaring throughout the station. The lighting shifted to red, and the station's AI announced, "Warning. Unknown vessels approaching. Energy signatures do not match known configurations." Lyra attempted to stand but stumbled. Nathan found himself moving to catch her before she fell, surprised by how light she felt despite her tall frame. The crystal device she held pulsed more intensely at their contact, casting strange patterns across both their faces. "They tracked me here," she whispered, her silver eyes meeting his. "The Void Hunters never stop hunting. You must make a choice now, Lieutenant Drake. Help me protect this artifact and learn truths about your species that your people have never imagined, or turn me in and doom both our civilizations to darkness." Nathan's mind raced. His duty was clear: unknown aliens and mysterious artifacts should be reported immediately. But the station's unusual alarms, the strange vessels approaching, and the genuine fear in Lyra's voice painted a picture his instincts couldn't ignore. "The medical bay is 6 levels down," he said finally, helping her to her feet. "But first, you're going to tell me exactly what's going on." Lyra's expression showed relief, but only briefly. "The artifact I carry is one of 5 keys created by the Precursors, the first spacefaring race in our galaxy. Each key contains part of a code that, when combined, can either seal or open the void gates." "The what?" Nathan asked, leading her toward a maintenance elevator while keeping watch for station security patrols. "Massive tears in spacetime that the Precursors sealed eons ago," she explained, leaning against him as they moved. "The Void Hunters believe that opening these gates will grant them unimaginable power. They don't understand that what lies beyond those gates once nearly destroyed all life in the galaxy." The elevator doors closed just as another alarm blared. Nathan's comm unit crackled with urgent messages about unknown ships demanding immediate docking access. "And why exactly did you bring this trouble to my station?" Lyra's silver eyes seemed to peer into his soul. Because the precursors left signs about which species could safely handle their artifacts. Your people, Lieutenant Drake, carry a genetic marker we've only just begun to understand. Humanity's potential is far greater than you know. The elevator hummed as it descended, and Nathan felt the weight of her words settling over him. His world had just become vastly more complicated, and somehow he knew this was only the beginning. The crystal device pulsed once more, and for a brief moment, Nathan saw complex mathematical equations and star maps reflected in its light. "Time is short," Lyra said softly. "The Void Hunters will breach this station's defenses soon. Are you prepared to learn truths that will change everything you think you know about humanity's place in the cosmos?" Nathan checked his weapon's charge and smiled grimly. "Lady, I stopped expecting normal the moment I found you bleeding silver blood in my maintenance corridor. Let's hear what you've got." The medical bay's automated systems hummed quietly as they worked to stabilize Lyra's condition. Nathan stood guard by the door, dividing his attention between the corridor outside and the mysterious alien who had just upended his understanding of the universe. "Your genetic structure is fascinating," Dr. Ravi Patel remarked, studying the medical scanner's holographic display. The elderly doctor had been Nathan's first choice, someone who could keep a secret and think outside conventional parameters. "I've never seen anything quite like it. The silver fluid isn't just blood, it's some sort of biomechanical interface." Lyra sat upright on the examination bed, her iridescent scales now glowing with a subtle inner light. "My people, the stellar concordat, evolved alongside technology left by the precursors. We became something more than purely organic beings." She held up the crystal device, which pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. "But humanity, you evolved differently. More naturally, yet with greater potential." Nathan moved closer, drawn by the patterns swimming in the crystal's depths. "You still haven't explained why these Void Hunters want this key so badly." Before Lyra could answer, the station shook violently. Emergency lights flashed as the AI announced, "Warning. Station defenses breached. Unknown entities detected in sectors 7 through 9. "They're here," Lyra said, sliding off the bed despite Dr. Patel's protests. "The Void Hunters don't care how many lives they destroy to get what they want." She stumbled slightly, and Nathan caught her arm to steady her. The moment their skin made contact, the crystal flared brilliantly, projecting a detailed star map across the medical bay's walls. "By all that's sacred," Dr. Patel whispered, staring at the holographic display. "Those patterns, they match theoretical models of quantum consciousness networks. We've only theorized about such things." Lyra nodded. The precursors understood that consciousness itself was the key to unlocking the universe's deepest secrets. The human brain's unique quantum properties make you natural interfaces for their technology. She turned to Nathan, her silver eyes intense. "That's why the crystal responds so strongly to you. Your species has an innate ability to connect with precursor tech that my people lack." The station shook again, and Nathan's comm unit crackled with reports of casualties. The Void Hunters were systematically working their way through the station's sectors. "We need to move," he said. "Where's the safest place for that key?" "Not where," Lyra replied, "but when. There's a prototype quantum drive in your station's research sector. With the key's power, we could use it to reach a temporal sanctuary the precursors created." Nathan's mind reeled at the implications, but years of military training kept him focused on immediate priorities. "Dr. Patel, initiate emergency protocols and get non-essential personnel to the escape pods. We'll head to Research Section Delta." As they moved through the station's back corridors, Nathan noticed something strange. Every piece of advanced technology they passed seemed to react to their presence. Lighting systems brightened, door mechanisms operated faster, and security systems automatically granted them clearance. "The key is awakening dormant protocols in your technology," Lyra explained, noticing his observation. Human technology, primitive as it may seem to some, was built on principles similar to precursor designs. You've been unconsciously recreating their work. They reached a sealed security door marked Restricted Research. Nathan placed his hand on the scanner, but before it could complete its normal protocols, the crystal pulsed. The door slid open instantly, its systems bypassed completely. Inside, they found a massive chamber dominated by a ring-shaped device covered in pulsing energy conduits. Dr. Samira Hassan, the project's lead scientist, spun in surprise at their entrance. "Lieutenant Drake? This is a restricted area," she stopped mid-sentence, staring at Lyra. "Dr. Hassan," Nathan said quickly, "I need you to listen carefully. Those ships attacking us? They're after something that could endanger the entire galaxy. We need your quantum drive." Before she could respond, a thunderous explosion rocked the chamber. Through the smoke emerged three figures that made Nathan's blood run cold. They were humanoid in basic shape, but their bodies seemed to be composed of shifting darkness, with points of light like distant stars visible in their depths. "The key," one of them spoke, its voice resonating on frequencies that made Nathan's teeth ache. "Surrender it, Guardian, and we will grant your species a quick extinction." Lyra stepped forward, her own body beginning to glow with inner light. "You know nothing of the power you seek to unleash. The void gates were sealed for a reason." "The gates offer ascension," another hunter replied. "Your precursor masters feared true power. We do not." Nathan watched in amazement as Lyra's military training became evident. In one fluid motion, she drew a small device from her suit and threw it at the hunters. The device erupted into a sphere of blinding light, momentarily disrupting their shadowy forms. "Dr. Hassan," Lyra shouted, "initiate the quantum drive." "Nathan, the key responds to you. You must help me direct its power." As the hunters reformed, Nathan made a decision that would change the course of human history. He grabbed Lyra's hand, feeling the crystal's energy surge through them both. The quantum drive hummed to life, its ring filling with swirling energy. "You can't escape," the lead hunter snarled, launching waves of darkness toward them. "The void claims all." But something was happening. Where Nathan and Lyra's hands met, holding the crystal between them, a new kind of energy began to manifest. The quantum drive's field synchronized with the key's pulsing rhythm, and reality itself seemed to bend around them. "Trust in your species' potential," Lyra whispered to Nathan as space and time began to warp. "The precursors chose humanity for a reason." The last thing Nathan saw before the quantum field enveloped them was the look of fear in the Void Hunter's starlit eyes. They had never expected a human to wield precursor technology with such natural skill. As the field collapsed, taking them to an unknown when, Nathan realized humanity's place in the cosmos would never be the same again. The quantum field collapsed, depositing Nathan and Lyra in a vast chamber that defied conventional architecture. Crystalline structures grew from floor to ceiling, their surfaces displaying cascading streams of alien data. The air itself seemed to shimmer with possibilities, and gravity felt more like a suggestion than a law. "Welcome to the Nexus," Lyra said softly, still holding Nathan's hand. One of the few remaining precursor sanctuaries, hidden in a fold between moments of time. Nathan struggled to process what his eyes were seeing. The chamber seemed to shift and change as he looked at it, adapting to his presence. How is this possible? This place, it feels alive. Because it is. Lyra released his hand and approached one of the crystal columns. The precursors understood that consciousness and reality were intertwined. They built their greatest works to be responsive to thought and intention. As if to demonstrate her point, the crystal key in Nathan's hand pulsed, and the entire chamber responded. Holographic displays erupted around them, showing star maps, genetic sequences, and mathematical equations that seemed to describe the fundamental nature of existence itself. "Your people's greatest scientists have already theorized about this," Lyra continued, studying the displays. "Quantum consciousness, the observer effect, the role of intention in shaping reality. They were scratching the surface of what the precursors understood millennia ago. Nathan moved closer to one of the displays, and it immediately shifted to show human DNA. But there was something different about it, patterns and sequences that seemed to glow with an inner light. "What am I looking at?" "The precursor legacy within humanity," Lyra explained, her silver eyes reflecting the holographic light. When they realized their civilization was approaching a crucial turning point, they didn't just vanish. They seeded various species across the galaxy with different aspects of their knowledge and potential. She waved her hand, and the display expanded to show multiple DNA sequences. "My people received their technological intuition. Others received their capacity for abstract thought or their connection to quantum fields. But humans..." She turned to face Nathan, her expression intense. "Humans received something unique." Before she could continue, a low rumble shook the chamber. The crystalline structures vibrated in harmony, creating a sound like distant bells. "That's impossible," Lyra whispered. "The Void Hunters couldn't have followed us here." "Unless they didn't need to," Nathan said, his tactical mind racing. "If they've been hunting these keys for centuries, they might already know about this place." The rumbling grew stronger, and sections of the chamber's walls began to darken, as if deep space itself was bleeding through. Nathan's hand tightened on the crystal key, and he felt it respond to his anxiety, its energy synchronizing with his heightened awareness. "Nathan," Lyra said urgently, "what humanity received from the precursors was their greatest gift, the ability to adapt, to evolve, to transcend their own limitations. Your species can interface with precursor technology naturally because you're their true heirs." The darkness spreading across the walls began to take shape, forming into the familiar star-filled silhouettes of Void Hunters. But something was different about them here, in this place between moments. Their forms seemed more solid, more ancient. "You are not welcome here, children of the void," a new voice echoed through the chamber. A figure of pure light materialized between Nathan and the hunters, humanoid in shape, but composed of energy and information rather than matter. "A precursor defense system," Lyra breathed. "Still active after all this time." The light being turned to face them, its featureless face somehow conveying both wisdom and urgency. "The key you carry is one of 5 that can seal the void gates permanently, preventing the darkness from consuming all of reality. But it requires a price, a joining of precursor legacy and human potential." Nathan felt the crystal key pulse in response to these words, its energy beginning to flow into him more intensely. Lyra grabbed his arm in alarm. "The joining, it could destroy you. Human consciousness interfacing directly with precursor technology at this level has never been attempted." The Void Hunters began to advance, their forms rippling with dark energy. "The gates will open," they spoke in unison. "Evolution demands it. Entropy cannot be denied." Nathan looked at the key in his hand, feeling its power resonating with something deep within his own DNA. Then he looked at Lyra, seeing the concern in her silver eyes, the connection that had grown between them in their short time together. "Evolution doesn't mean surrendering to chaos," he said firmly. "Sometimes it means standing against the darkness." Before anyone could stop him, he pressed the crystal key against his chest. Light erupted from the point of contact, and information older than human civilization began flooding into his consciousness. Lyra caught him as he staggered, her own bioluminescent scales flaring in response to the energy coursing through him. The precursor defense system moved closer, its light pulsing in approval. "The joining has begun," it announced. "But to complete the sealing, you must reach the other keys before the Void Hunters. The human must learn to control powers that my people spent millennia mastering, and quickly." As the chamber filled with the clash of light and darkness, Nathan felt his understanding of reality expanding. The key's energy was transforming him, awakening abilities that had lain dormant in human DNA since the precursors first seeded Earth with their legacy. Lyra's hand found his, their fingers intertwining as they faced the advancing hunters together. "Are you ready to embrace your species' true destiny?" she asked, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. Nathan smiled, feeling the power of ages coursing through his veins. "I think humanity has been ready for a very long time. We just didn't know what we were waiting for." The battle for reality itself was about to begin, and humanity's role in the cosmic drama was finally becoming clear. The ancient precursor ship responded to Nathan's thoughts like an extension of his own body. As they fled through hyperspace, streams of quantum data flowed through his consciousness, teaching him secrets that humanity wouldn't have discovered for millennia. The vessel, which Lyra had called the Star Weaver, had been waiting in the Nexus, preserved through time itself for this moment. "Your adaptation rate is extraordinary," Lyra said, watching as Nathan manipulated the ship's quantum systems with growing confidence. Her silver eyes reflected the swirling energy patterns that danced across the bridge's crystalline surfaces. "It took my people generations to learn even basic control of precursor technology." Nathan guided the ship through another quantum shift, evading the dark fleet pursuing them. The Void Hunters had recovered quickly from their encounter in the Nexus, and their ships moved through space like living shadows, leaving trails of disturbing darkness in their wake. "It feels natural," Nathan replied, trying to process the flood of information in his mind. "Like remembering something I always knew but had forgotten." He glanced at her, noting how the ship's ambient light made her iridescent scales shimmer. "Though having you here helps more than you know." A slight purple tinge colored Lyra's cheeks, her species equivalent of a blush. The growing connection between them was becoming harder to ignore, transcending their different origins. The precursor key had changed Nathan, awakening abilities that blurred the line between organic and technological consciousness, making him something unprecedented. "The second key is hidden in the quantum nebula," Lyra said, consulting the ship's star charts. "The precursors sealed it within a gravity well that exists in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Breaking through those defenses would have been impossible before, but now we have humanity's potential and precursor technology working together," Nathan finished. He reached out with his enhanced senses, feeling the quantum threads that connected all reality. The nebula was a twisted knot in that fabric, hiding something powerful at its core. Suddenly, the ship's sensors blared a warning. A massive vessel emerged from hyperspace directly ahead of them, a Void Hunter dreadnought that seemed to bend light around its dark hull. Nathan's enhanced vision could see the corruption spreading from it like a cancer in reality itself. "Heirs of the precursors," a voice echoed through their minds, ancient and cold. "Your resistance is a denial of cosmic truth. The void gates must open. Evolution demands the embrace of entropy." Nathan felt Lyra's hand on his shoulder, steadying him against the mental assault. "They're wrong," she said firmly. "True evolution isn't about surrender to chaos. It's about rising above our limitations while maintaining our essence." The dreadnought launched waves of quantum-disrupting energy, attempting to force them out of hyperspace. Nathan closed his eyes, letting his consciousness merge more deeply with the Starweaver's systems. The ship responded instantly, its quantum shields adapting to counter the attack. "The precursors understood something fundamental about consciousness," Nathan said, opening eyes that now swirled with streams of data. "It's not just an observer of reality, it's a participant in shaping it. That's why they chose humanity. We never stop trying to understand, to grow, to become more than we are." Lyra's hand moved from his shoulder to his face, turning him toward her. "You're proving their choice was right," she said softly. "My people thought we were their true heirs because we merged with their technology. But you're showing there's something more powerful than just using their tools, it's understanding their wisdom." The moment between them was interrupted by another assault from the dreadnought. But this time, Nathan was ready. He reached out with his enhanced consciousness, feeling the quantum structure of space itself. The Starweaver's systems merged with his intention, and reality bent around them. The ship shot forward, not through space, but through possibility itself. They emerged behind the dreadnought, in a position that should have been impossible to reach. How? Lyra gasped, staring at the sensor readings. I didn't move us through space, Nathan explained, still adapting to his new understanding. I shifted us through probability, making the least likely position become momentarily certain. He smiled at her amazement. Turns out humans are pretty good at doing the impossible. They plunged into the quantum nebula, leaving the dreadnought behind. The space around them became increasingly strange, filled with overlapping realities and quantum uncertainties. But Nathan could see the patterns now, the underlying logic in the chaos. The key's signal is getting stronger, Lyra reported, monitoring the complex readings. But Nathan, something's different about this one. The energy signature is more complex than the first key. Before Nathan could respond, space itself seemed to shatter around them. The nebula's quantum structure collapsed into a single possibility, and they found themselves facing something that challenged comprehension, a massive structure that existed in all quantum states simultaneously, a temple of probability. The probability forge, Lyra whispered in awe. The legends were true. This is where the precursors first learned to manipulate quantum reality. Nathan felt the first key resonating with the structure, pulling them toward a specific quantum state. But he also sensed something else, other consciousnesses, neither void hunter nor precursor, waiting within the forge. We're not alone here, he said, his enhanced senses stretching out. Someone else is trying to claim the key. Someone who's been waiting a very long time. Lyra's expression hardened with recognition. The quantum cult. Zealots who worship probability itself, believing that all possible realities should be allowed to collapse into chaos. She met Nathan's gaze. They're almost as dangerous as the void hunters, in their own way. Nathan took her hand, feeling their combined determination strengthen the ship's quantum field. Then we'll show them why the precursors chose order over chaos, creation over entropy. He smiled at her. Ready to make the impossible probable? The Starweaver dove toward the probability forge, reality itself bending around them as they prepared to face whatever waited within. The second key, and humanity's growing role in the cosmic drama, lay ahead. The probability forge's central chamber defied conventional physics. Quantum possibilities cascaded around them like waterfalls of light, each one showing a different potential reality. Nathan and Lyra stood before the second key's pedestal, while behind them, the Starweaver's quantum shields held back both the encroaching darkness of the void hunters and the chaotic energy of the quantum cult's attacks. The convergence is beginning, Lyra said, her bioluminescent scales pulsing in rhythm with the forge's energy. All 5 keys are resonating with each other across space and time. The other guardians must have reached their targets. Nathan felt it too, his enhanced consciousness detecting the quantum harmonics building throughout reality. The first key in his chest pulsed with increasing power, reaching out to its counterpart on the pedestal. But something was wrong. The frequencies aren't aligning properly, he realized, studying the intricate patterns of probability. The void hunter's corruption is affecting the quantum field itself. If we take this key now, reality itself could shatter, a new voice announced. From the quantum cascades emerged a figure that seemed to be composed of pure mathematics, the leader of the quantum cult. That is precisely what we desire. Let all possibilities exist simultaneously. Let chaos reign supreme. The chamber shuddered as the void hunter's assault intensified. Through the Starweaver's sensors, Nathan could see their dreadnought consuming the nebula's quantum energy, growing stronger with each passing moment. You don't understand, Lyra argued, addressing the cult leader. Uncontrolled quantum collapse won't create infinite possibilities, it will destroy the very framework that allows possibility to exist. Your limited perspective blinds you, the cult leader replied. The precursors were cowards, imposing order on the fundamental chaos of existence. We seek to undo their great mistake. Nathan stepped forward, the key's energy flowing through him. You're both right and wrong, he said, his consciousness expanding to encompass the quantum field around them. The precursors didn't impose order on chaos, they found the balance between them. That's why they chose humanity. Understanding flooded through him as he spoke, centuries of dormant knowledge awakening. Humans are creatures of both order and chaos. We create structure while celebrating randomness. We make plans but adapt to change. We are living proof that both forces can coexist. The first key's power surged, and Nathan felt Lyra's hand slip into his. Their combined presence in the quantum field created something new, a harmony that began to affect the cascading possibilities around them. Impossible, the cult leader whispered, their mathematical form fluctuating. The quantum resonance, it's stabilizing. Because that's what humanity does, Lyra said proudly. They find ways to make the impossible possible. They take contradictions and turn them into strengths. The Void Hunters' darkness began seeping into the chamber, their ancient voices echoing, the gates will open. Entropy cannot be denied. You're right, Nathan replied, stepping toward the second key. Entropy can't be denied, but it can be balanced. Life itself is a dance between order and entropy. The precursors understood this. It's not about preventing change, it's about guiding it. As his hand touched the second key, reality seemed to hold its breath. The quantum cult's chaotic energy, the Void Hunters' corruption, and the precursors' ancient power all converged in that moment. Nathan, Lyra called out, her voice filled with both hope and fear. Whatever you're planning, I trust you. He turned to her, seeing in her silver eyes the same truth he'd found in the quantum field, that the greatest power comes not from extremes, but from finding balance between them. Together, he asked. She moved to his side without hesitation. Together. As they grasped the second key, Nathan opened his consciousness fully to the quantum field. Instead of fighting either the chaos or the darkness, he embraced them both, using his humanity's unique perspective to find harmony in their discord. The keys responded, their energy spreading out across reality itself. The quantum cult's leader watched in amazement as their chaotic possibilities began to find patterns. The Void Hunters' darkness was not destroyed, but transformed, becoming part of a greater balance. The Void Gates, Lyra gasped, watching the quantum readouts. They're not sealing, they're changing. Because that's not what the keys were really for, Nathan realized, the full scope of the precursors' plan becoming clear. They weren't meant to simply lock away the darkness or impose rigid order. They were tools to teach us how to find balance. The probability forge began to transform, its quantum cascades forming new patterns. The Void Hunters' dreadnought, instead of being destroyed, was transfigured, its darkness becoming part of a new kind of order. This is what the precursors were preparing us for, Nathan continued, holding Lyra close as reality reshaped itself around them. Not to be their replacements, but to be their students. To learn what they learned, that the universe needs both chaos and order, change and stability, darkness and light. The quantum cult leader bowed, their mathematical form finding new stability. We were wrong, and right. The infinite possibilities we sought can exist, but only within the framework of greater harmony. As the quantum storm settled, Nathan and Lyra found themselves back aboard the Star Weaver, but everything had changed. The nebula around them pulsed with new life, the perfect balance of probability and certainty. So what now? Lyra asked, her hand still in his, her silver eyes shining with possibility. What does humanity do with this new understanding? Nathan smiled, feeling the key's power now flowing naturally through reality, maintaining the balance they'd helped create. What we've always done, explore, learn, grow. But now we know we're not alone. He turned to her. The precursors gave us the potential, but finding you showed me how to use it. Our peoples have much to learn from each other, she agreed, moving closer. And I can think of no better place to start. As their lips met, the quantum field around them sang with harmonious energy. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger understanding of reality, guided by the wisdom of the past but forging its own path into the future. The journey ahead would be challenging, but they would face it together, finding balance in every step.